Good eve. Oh nope, I'm too early. Good evening, everybody out there in Chester County and on my Facebook page. Coming to you straight live on City Town Talk is none other than me, Brother Fonz. And this is an evening I've been waiting for the last couple of months to have our own city manager, Mr. James Logan, on our show. But before we do that, all my viewers, you know what you're supposed to do. Let's hit these things and get on here to share tonight's broadcast. We want you to tune in, share it, and I'm going to make sure because what I want to do, as always, I want to make sure that we can field any questions that you may have. Hey, Daria Turner has been waiting for you, Mr. Logan. You all late? She was waiting. Don't get mad at me, Daria. It wasn't me. All right, but look, let me see. I want to make sure I got this together. Boom, balla, bing. Whole lot of strange new stuff with Facebook, but it's okay. I got you on one of my devices, and that's more than enough. Now, I'm going to have to make some announcements before we even get into that. And I know he's the meat and the potatoes. Y'all want to make sure and see what he's got to say, but there's a few announcements I got to say. So, first of all, on New Year's Eve, which is Thursday at 11 p.m., New Life in Christ Fellowship will be having their New Year's Eve service. Now, you know, on New Year's Eve, we are we are usually jam packed to the rafters. They're all in the basement. Every seat is filled. Well, now you can fill the rafters, but you can do that at home. You don't have to come out. But we do encourage you to tune in. So look, I want y'all to go to NLICF.org. That's New Life in Christ Fellowship.org. And you'll be able to tune into New Year's Eve service. So I'm looking forward to seeing y'all. I'll be advertising that some more because we want you to be on. Now, don't forget, CYWA is still having their food distribution Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday is 12:30 to 1:30 and Thursday 1:30 to 2:30. They don't want to take that food home. So y'all come on out and get that food and stop playing. Get in line, bring your carriage, bring your cart, do whatever you have to do. Pull up in your Mercedes. No, don't do that. We'll talk about you. But you know what I'm talking about. Y'all come on out and get that. Then Friday, now I did talk to Pastor, well, I didn't. I sent a text message to Pastor Kyle Boyer from Tabernacle Baptist Church. Their food distribution is usually on Friday. That's New Year's Day. I'm not sure if they're going to have it. So as soon as I get word back from them, I'm going to, my face is disappearing. All right. As soon as I get word back from them, I'm going to share that with you guys. Iris Holmes, oh, it's so good to see you. Hey, David Phillips from Family First Painters. Hey, David, you know, I'm going to make a special announcement about you on New Year's Eve because you're one of the great brothers that I'm grateful for Thursday. Now, Thursday's meeting, look, Thursday's show, I'm not going to have no guests. It's just going to be me. But the purpose of Thursday's show, I'm trying to find a good title. So I'm going to say Giving Thanks Thursday. So Thursday, understanding the challenges that we've gone through in the year 2020, there had been some things that we all should either be thankful for or grateful for. So when you come on the show, I want you in the comment section to name at least one thing that you're thankful or grateful for. Number one, acknowledging your gratitude is great, and it also shares with other people in the community, and it gives us a great way to end the year on the positive as opposed to the negative. So that's what this is. This is about a feel good Thursday. I want to see y'all's comments on there about what you're thankful for. And look, I got a list of, I got so much to be thankful for that I take a whole show by myself. What I'm going to do though, during the dead time, when ain't nobody got nothing to say, I'm going to run off the names of all the people that have been on the show, City Town Talk Show, this year that has made the show the informative show that it is. And I'm grateful for each and every one of y'all. And also, if you are breathing on Thursday and you can't think of nothing, just think about the last breath you took. That's going to be real simple. So I can't wait for that. Oh, okay. Well, okay, wait a minute. Okay, we got people that's got questions already. Okay, Kim Powell, I see you on there. Roberta Showell, I'm expecting to see you Thursday night. Roberta, before our midnight show, New Year's Eve show. Who else we got? Sister Barbara Marshall, you know how I feel about you. She said I've been on the wrong place. Well, you're on the right place now. It's good to see. It's always good to see David Phillips on here. Kim Pollard, we're going to answer your question as soon as I get James Logan primed up, because we got some stuff. I got some stuff to ask him. You know, me and James Logan, we go back like car seats. You know, when he first got here, we kind of like struck up a relationship, and we've been talking, and I really like his style, and I'm so glad that he's the city manager. I like the fact that he wears turtlenecks. I can't never seem to get none wherever he buys them. He's told me, but I've messed up. So with that being said, James, I want you to just say good evening, everybody, and maybe tell us about your day or something before we jump into our Q&A. But wait a minute. All of y'all on this show tonight, stick around to the very end, because Mr. Logan has a special announcement that's going to affect a whole lot of y'all. Now, I don't know how to put it. Stick around, stop playing. He's got something special to tell you. Mr. Logan, take it away. Tell everybody, speak to everybody, and tell us a little something about yourself.
Well, good evening, everyone. Many of you, or maybe not many of you, but my name is James Logan. I am proud to be the city manager for the great city of Coatesville, and I'm excited. I'm excited to be on Fonz's show this time of year. Fonz had me on a little bit earlier in the year, more so as the city manager, but he was asking me to come back and tell you guys a little bit more about myself and what I plan to do, along with your help as residents and maybe friends of the city of Coatesville, to move our community forward. So I'm very excited to be here tonight. Hopefully I'll get to some questions. If not, hopefully Fonz will ask me to come back, but we'll start with tonight.
Good. Now I'm going to segue right into that. Yes, because the majority of people that be on this show, before I like to introduce them and we talk about what it is they do, I like to talk about who they are. So let's find out who this guy is that drives that BMW, got them little tiny suits on with the nice little turtlenecks. Let's find out just who he is. Okay, now here we go. Now, Kim Pollard's got a question. Daria Turner's got a question. So Daria, Kim, don't go nowhere, because you know good and well I'm going to put your question right up to him before he, make him sweat. All right, here we go. All right.
In my turtleneck.
In your turtle, and I'm jealous of your turtlenecks. I tried to order some that came from China, and they was more like rhinoceros necks. You know what I mean? But that's another story. Okay.
I'll hook you up.
Man, I love turtleneck. Okay, let me ask you, where are you originally from?
I'm from Cali. I'm a native of Oakland, California, Oaktown, and I moved here almost 20 years ago. But yeah, born and raised in Oakland, and I guess the reason why I'm in Coatesville is that Coatesville reminds me of the Bay Area, and there's a lot of things in the Bay Area that I miss, and when I'm here in Coatesville, it just reminds me of being back home. So yeah, Oakland is where I hail from.
Now look, I'm old school. I'm an old dude. I remember the Black Panthers. Now they came out of Oakland. Am I correct?
You are correct.
Now, the media's view of them always likes to show the negative part or the negative aspect of the Black Panthers. But do you have any kind of knowledge of what they did and how they affected the community around them?
Yeah, actually, growing up in Oakland, I kind of got firsthand a view of the Black Panther Party. I lived about 6 blocks from the headquarters on East 14th, and one of the things when I was a kid, growing up, if you grow up in Oakland, you're exposed to a lot of things, good and bad, and different. And I just remember, a lot of brothers are walking around in their leather coats. I wanted a leather coat, and what they were doing in our community. There were 2 stories. There was 2 sides of the story. The law enforcement police officers, the popo, they were looking at them as this negative group of African-American men going around in the community. But what they really were there to do, was to empower, the African-American community, mainly the men. They wanted to show that men can be strong, taking care of their families, and they didn't want the Black community, which Oakland is a predominantly Black community, they didn't want the community to go without. So they were the ones that launched the first you know, morning or breakfast program, which is called Head Start now. They started that. You know, they were giving kids breakfast meals in the morning for a lot of kids that didn't have it. And that's one of the things sometimes you don't hear in the history of the Black Panther Party. You know, Bobby Seals, Huey Newton, what those guys were doing, and it was just a different time. You know, it was just a different time. As I said, I was kind of too young to remember a lot of that stuff, but they had a presence, and they still have a presence in Oakland to this day. You know, it's a little bit different, but you know, the remnants of the Black Panther Party and what they did across the nation. You know, I read up on how the Black Panther Party was here in the Philadelphia area, in Chicago, New York. They were a national organization that made an impact. And I think like a lot of, you know, organizations that oftentimes people feared, they were infiltrated, you know, by people, and they began to turn on themselves, and you know, they had power struggles. But the base of the party was to empower people, you know, get young people into school, you know, get us educated on what our rights were, and it was very, you know, it was very moving. And from there, different, you know, groups kind of evolved in Oakland, you know, and as I got older, you know, I was exposed to those groups, and to me, you know, it just kind of impacted me, you know, differently in a way that I never really shared it with my family because, you know, I was kind of afraid, you know, but I think all of our family members knew what was going on, and I had a couple of sisters that certainly knew what was going on because they were older than I was, and they were, I don't want to say affiliated, but you know, they knew people, and that was pretty interesting watching the dynamics of how our families grew in the Bay Area under around that time. So it was pretty exciting.
Okay, well now wait a minute, because I don't want nobody to fall asleep that's viewing, because you got some good stuff. I hope you're not in a hurry and you got a date, because I want to recognize some of these viewers because they are really on here, and we got some questions. So before I ask your question, Kim, and address you, Daria, I want to say good evening to Brother James Hamilton, Lila Singleton, Claudia T. Palmer, and Jerry Peterson is on the set. Carmen, you know it's always good to see you. Jamel Devlin, you're kind of new to the show. Donna Rowland, she's echoing your free breakfast program. Pastor Randall Harris is on the set. Al Edwards, it is good to see you. Who else? Cass Rowland, Big Boys, Barbecue Sauce. I want to see you Thursday night, Cass, and I need to hear one thing that you're thankful or grateful for in this past year. And Angela Westmoreland, I don't see you often. Okay, Barbara Lowe, she's a real radical. I like her. Now, let's get back to some questions because it's more about my viewers. You know, me and you going to talk. We're going to ask these questions. But Kim Pollard wants to know why, this sounds like trouble. Why, when other cities like Callan, Exton start building, the buildings are up in a matter of a month. Coatesville's been building for 10 years. Why does it take Coatesville so long to erect buildings as opposed to other townships?
Well, you know, that's a good question. I think every city has, depending on their, you know, their codes and their permits and their planning. You know, some buildings take a lot, you know, longer to get up than others. You know, one of the things that that a lot of people don't know is when you see a building go up, and it doesn't mean that that building just started to go up, you know, the day that you started seeing the construction workers out there. A lot of planning goes into these buildings. So you may be seeing a building go up just like we have one on the West End right now. And the concrete walls have gone up at 190 West. But that building has been in the works, in the plans for a couple of years. So as you see buildings go up and you go, wow, that building's just kind of, you know, going up pretty quickly. The plans of that building probably for 3 years, 5 years, you know, sometimes even 6 years in the works. We have a lot of stops and starts with developers in the community. Some developers are more proficient in their funding and their capital stack, which means that, you know, they can get their buildings, you know, built quicker. I'm sure you've all have seen, you know, properties where looks like they're starting the construction, and then all of a sudden it stops. Oftentimes what happens there is they run out of financing, they run out of money, and then they're looking for maybe another developer to come in and pick up where they left off. But I have to say that, the buildings in Coatesville, they go up relatively, the same amount of time as other buildings. And Sue Springsteen, who has the building at 190 West, she actually is going to be in her building February, maybe March. But that's pretty quick. I mean, she's turning that project around in less than 6 months. So that's a fast turnaround.
Okay, let's hear from Daria Turner. And Daria says she really appreciates this forum. I thank you for that, Daria. That'll keep me encouraged and keep me looking for talent out there. Remember, ladies and gentlemen out there, this show is based on people of interest. If you know people of base of interest, they don't have to be nothing. They just got to be people of interest who's got a story and who can articulate themselves. And it's not like pulling teeth to get an answer out of them. So Daria wants to know, what's the status with the codes department / enforcement standards with landlords in particular? Example, property at 6th and Lincoln Highway. There are many others. That's from Daria Turner.
There are many what? I'm sorry, I didn't get the last part.
She said there are many others. She said, let me read it again. What's the status with the codes department / enforcement standards with landlords in particular? Example, property at 6th and Lincoln. And she said, in parentheses, she said there are many more.
Well, I don't know exactly what's going on 6th and Lincoln. I'll check it out tomorrow. But in terms of our codes department, one of the things that our codes department is designed to do is to go in and inspect buildings to make sure that there are no fire hazards, or for rental properties, for example, we look for things like mold, plumbing, electrical, just to for the safety of the residents. There's kind of this preconceived notion that the codes department can go into somebody's home or onto someone's property. We cannot do that. We can't just go on someone's property and say, hey, you got to tear down that shed, or you got to cut that lawn, or things like that. That has to be reported, and then what we do is we reach out to either the landlord or the homeowner, and we tell them that we've received a complaint of high grass or garbage, and we're calling you as a courtesy and telling you that if you don't do something about it, you're going to be cited. So as an enforcement part of the city, there are certain things that we can and cannot do, and certainly our codes department, what we try to do, we try to work with landlords and correct some of the issues and challenges that they're having. But we are here to serve the community, and I think our codes department has a good reputation. I will have to say that we're a little understaffed, so that may be the reason why it takes a little bit longer to enforce some of the problems that we're having. But oftentimes our codes guys, they do eventually get to the issues, and they do resolve them pretty quickly.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, we're going to say top of the evening, Darryl Hunt, a great basketball player from Coatesville. Quentin Brown is on the scene. Quentin, loved your scripture today. Carolyn Jones, is always good to see you. Debbie Bookman, hey, Fonz, top of the evening, city manager. Okay, now we're going to ask some of Fonzarelli's questions. Bam, bam, bam. Let me see, where we at? Okay, now, did you come from a big family, small family? Where did you line up in that family structure?
Wow. Yeah, big family. I am number 6 in my family. There was 10 of us in a 2-bedroom house in Oakland, and it was pretty tight, but it was fun. I came from a community where the families were so big, we used to have fights on the block. So there was this family that lived across the street from us. There was like 16 in their family, and what would happen is you would get paired with the person of your age or your height.
Okay.
So it's almost like everybody was standing in a line, and we go, "It's gonna be you. It's gonna be you." And yeah, I got a couple of beat downs when I was a kid, but we all knew each other. And after we had these these squabbles, we come together, and we would just kind of be a good community. But growing up and remembering how big my family was and the other families, it was just amazing. Because your families, depending on what your family did in the community, you would grow up with this reputation. Much like the families here in Coatesville, everybody knows one another because of maybe your grandfather or your great grandfather, someone working at the mill, and that particular name and reputation just kind of evolved with the the new people that the grandchildren or the nieces and nephews. So all of that was happening where I was from, and I look back when I talk to my sisters, and we talk about those days back in Oakland, is how they used to. And maybe some of the young ladies or ladies on the line tonight, they might remember this, but I remember when my sisters would get into these fights with the other families, they would always get the Vaseline bonds, and they would just they would just load up with Vaseline, and they would just go out. They would make sure that their earrings were off. I mean, it was when I look back at it, it's funny now, but they were ready for battle, and those are the things that I don't really miss them, but those type of stories, and thinking back on my childhood, growing up with so many people in my family, they were fun. I mean, I didn't have to look for a baseball team because there was 10 of us, and it was just nice kind of having that family to support you, and now everyone's older, to just kind of watch you grow and evolve as a person. So it's
Now
fun.
you said you had 6 other brothers and sisters.
No, it's 6 girls and brothers. It's 6 girls and 2 boys.
Wow. Well, your parents was busy.
They're from the South. Yes, they were.
Oh, that explains it. Okay, before we go any further, we want to recognize Neb Kepper. I don't even recognize that name. I gotta look on Facebook and see you. Top of the evening to you, Miss Arvilla Hunt. It is good to see you. Geraldine Peterson said that sounded like Carver Court, the stuff you was going through. Carmen Green, she thinks something is funny. And Anna Sophia Carr, it is, well, I say Anna Sophia Carr. I don't even know if Carr is your last name, but Anna Sophia, it's good to see you. For some reason, Carr stuck in my brain. Okay, what did your parents do?
My mother was in healthcare. She was a nurse, started out in the hospital, and then she, I think her last part of her career, she worked at a blind center. But she started in a hospital as a nurse. And my dad, blue collar worker, he worked for Sherwin-Williams Paint Company for like 29 years.
Okay.
So, the family was, very kind of, I don't even want to say middle class, because when you're a kid, you don't know if you're poor or what. But, they both worked, jobs. My dad worked 2 jobs. He had to feed, all the kids, of course. And I guess from, watching them work so hard, and what they provided in terms of the family, you kind of grow up with that, and you watch them, and it's instilled in you to work hard too. So my dad, what he did was he had his own paint company. So he would work from 7 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, and I'm sure Dave Phillips can relate to this. So when my dad would finish with his paint company job, he would come home, he would eat for about an hour and a half, and then he had to go to work, his real job, from 5 to midnight. So he was out there hustling all the time, and the only time I would see him was mainly during the summer months when I had to work with him. And that's how I kind of started, making money and appreciating, money, and just he started me out very young to just, have a good work ethic, and that's why I do what I do here. I love working here, and I know some people think that I'm here all the time, but it doesn't feel like work.
But wait a minute, you are out there all the time. It's 8:30. You're at the office in Coatesville. I mean,
Yeah,
every time I
but
talk to you, I see the same background. Like 9 and 92.
yeah, but you know what? I think, and I truly believe that if you pour yourself into something that you have a passion for, it doesn't really seem like work. I mean, don't get me wrong. Managing the city is hard work. I mean, we have so many, challenges, but with those challenges, we have opportunities. So I just want to be around to see those opportunities materialize.
Hey, and some of your city council members realize that because Carmen Green said you are here all the time, and once you win Carmen over, you're okay. Okay.
Uh, Mrs. Green just saying that because she knows when I leave her at night, I'm gonna go buy a Jack's Pizza and something, and I'm gonna drop something off.
We're going to talk about your food ethic and everything too, because there's some things that I've noticed about you talking to you. First of all, good evening, Anthony. Hey, Anthony, if you got any questions, because you're almost like a secret agent. If you got any questions in regards to the city, he's the one to ask. Don't ask me nothing because I don't know nothing. But I'm smart enough to know I'm going to always make sure somebody's smarter in the room, and he's him. So Mr. Hunt says your work ethic speaks volumes. So glad to work with you. Oh boy, it's getting deep now. Oh boy, we're gonna have to move on. Turn page. Bridget Miles, it is good to see you. Bridget Miles is the matriarch of the Miles family. It's like the smartest family in Coatesville. I walk by their house and I automatically start thinking I'm smarter. So Bridget, it's good to see you this evening. Now, where are we? I got to go. Here's another one. Let's talk school. Now, right now, when I talk to you, you so educated, you make my head hurt, right? Have you always been like that? Did you always know stuff? Were you good in school? Let's talk about it.
I was an average student. I wasn't good in school. I have a sister. I think my sister is 2 or 3 years younger than I am, and she got skipped 2 grades to graduate with me, and and I was jealous of that. So I was just an average student. But one of the things I learned was, in order to make myself better and more competitive, I just had to read. I had to watch other people do things. I had to, not not look at something and say, well, I can't do it. So throughout school, I was just that way. I was always looking for something to better myself and to whatever shortfalls I had to figure out what my strengths were. So that's what I did. College was the same way. I got to college, I had a basketball scholarship, and I went there not really thinking or knowing what I wanted to do. I was studying computer science, and that's basically what I did when I left. But when I returned to Oakland, I still didn't know what I really wanted to do. And but the education part and my interest in different things kind of propelled me to figure it out, as I got older.
Okay, good stuff. Hey, there is Lily Lavender. Lily, you have been missed. I haven't seen you in a long time. Marcy Ben Griffin, top of the evening. My neighbor Stephen Horsey is watching. Hey, Steve, if any of y'all, ladies or gentlemen, have questions, here's the one. They ain't been picking up your trash. Get on here and say something. Somebody's like drunk and rowdy out there. Get on here and say something. He's the man right here. Donna Rowland said, while managing the city, what's the hardest part? Managing the city's budget, or is there a department that you would like to see run more efficiently? That's from Donna Rowland.
I would say it's both. I mean, it's both, all of the above. I mean, certainly managing the budget is definitely at the top of the list. And for those of you who may not know, we successfully balanced the budget. That's something that I'm very proud of. I'm proud of all of our staff that helped get us there. I'm proud of our council members that helped push us to get there and stay on top of us every council meeting to make sure that we are not being irresponsible with taxpayers' money. So yeah, managing the city's budget is great. One of the biggest challenges of Coatesville, and a lot of you already know this, we have a situation, or we're in a situation where we have more renters than homeowners. And when you have that type of imbalance, there's only so much you can get from, real estate taxes. And we only have, we have 3 revenue streams in this city, real estate, waste, and EIT. And as every city is struggling, and I read the reports all over the country, all municipalities are struggling. We are actually being outpaced, just based on, the departments that we have, the lack of additional revenue streams that we have, and right now with COVID impacting the community the way it has, there's a lot of people that are not working. So that EIT, earned income tax dollars, do not come in to help, fuel the city or help with the city's revenues. So we have to be creative, and one of the things that we're doing is we're looking to get more investors in the city of Coatesville. We are designated an opportunity zone, and what that means is we can bring in investors that are interested in putting their capital into this community and build things. And one of the things that I'm working to do is not only attract those investors, but how do we build a workforce in this community too for the people that may be low wage earners or maybe wanting to scale up? How do I get them into a workforce pipeline so we can create jobs out here? So it's a long answer to your question. I think that there's not one thing that's a challenge for me. What I try to do is we try to address all of the issues in all of our departments and manage them the most efficient way that we can right now.
Good stuff here. We're going to take a second here. We have Miss Jackie Alameen, our fellow city council person. It's good to see you. Carmen said first balanced budget in over 15 years. Man, I wish I could balance my budget here in my house. Hey, Khalees McGivney, we're going to once again congratulate him. He has been ordained, I believe, an elder. If I said that wrong, inbox me, Khalees. Don't embarrass me in public. Okay, now, Bridget Miles, I think you must have been looking on my paper because your question is something that I wanted to ask. So I'm going to hold off on it just for a second so I don't want to lose my train of thought. When did the light bulb go on that made you realize what it is that you wanted to do in life or in your career? Was there a moment?
I can't recall when that moment was. I knew I wanted to, well, I'll be very upfront with you. I knew I wanted to make a lot of money, but I knew that I wanted to help people. Mm-hmm. And I knew that those two probably wouldn't work together because oftentimes when you're trying to help people in nonprofit organizations, you don't make a lot of money. So what I had to realize is that, I have to do what I enjoy doing, what I love doing, and not worry about, the financial end. My parents always taught me, if you do something right and if you enjoy it, you're going to be taken care of. You're going to be blessed with whatever you need. And that's what I've always, I walked out on that faith, and that's what I believe now. And it's taken me a long time, to get to where I am today. I've had a lot of people that have helped me. I've had a lot of, mentors and people, like my mom saying things like, you have potential, and she was right. So those are the things that I just kind of, I continue to push myself on and not worry about the monetary. I have a visitor in my office right now.
That's all right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, our guest this evening, if you don't know, is none other than the city manager, Mr. James Logan, and he's answering questions, and we are delving into just who he is, not just what he does. So wait a minute, let me see, do I have some questions? But don't forget, stick around to the end because the very last thing that we're going to do, he's going to have an announcement to the community at large. So let me see who else. Bridget Miles, once again. I think Bridget is actually a doctor. So I like to give people their doctor title because you earned that. You work hard for it. So Dr. Miles, she wants to know, what is your vision for the city? How do you plan to collaborate, drive, and lead our citizens to make this vision come to fruition? I like that word, fruition.
Well, Dr. Miles, nice to hear from you. Hope to see you soon. The vision for the city is it's kind of twofold. The first is really educating people or making people aware that we have to pivot from the old manufacturing industrial days. The steel mill was great. The stores in downtown district were great, but it's time to move on. One of the things that we have our disposal at our fingertips right now. So we have a very strong entrepreneurial community here. There are so many businesses. Actually, I was just on a call earlier with Mr. Rowland. We have more than 50 new businesses in this community that are either in phase one or stage one of their business, or they're getting ready to launch. So one of the things that we have to do is we have to help develop those companies, those small businesses, so that they're here in this community. And I was talking to one guy, Kev. I don't know if he's on tonight, but Kev owns a graphic and T-shirt company, and we were talking about, we was talking about Rosewood, Greenwood, Black Wall Street, and not to say that Coatesville is just a Black community. We're not just a Black community. We're a very diverse community. But if you take a page from those communities, the concept of the small businesses, the minority entrepreneurs, we have that same spirit here. So we can create a new market, a new industry here, and not so much leave the past behind in terms of its richness, but use that richness to bring us into the 21st century. We have companies that are doing that. One of the things that looks like we're going to get a designation of a Keystone Innovation Zone. And what that means is that the city of Coatesville will be able to attract companies that are on the technology side of the business sector. And that's going to be huge for the city. So that's like the first side of it. The other side of it is in terms of how do we communicate that out to the public. We have to use the resources that people connect to here. Coatesville is a very social media community. We get a lot of stuff from Facebook, from TikTok. Everything is social media, from Fonz's show. I mean, these are the communication networks that we're using in Coatesville. So what I think we have to get better at is, how do we disseminate this information? How do we get people to come out of their homes and tap into this? Fonz has more than 1,000, 1,500 viewers sometimes. He definitely is important for me to get information out about what's going on in the city, and I appreciate Fonz for doing that. But there's other networks. There's a young network of people that they're doing their own thing, and we have to tap into that. Your son, for example, Dr. Miles, him and I had a great conversation. And one of these days, and I told him, I'm going to steal him and I'm going to bring him into this office, because what he's doing with seniors is incredible. And that's something that we should, encourage him to do and help him get that off the ground. So for me, it's two things, building the future 21st century, bringing in new companies, getting our small companies that are already here in Coatesville into the storefronts or on that digital space. And then the other is improving the network of how do we get that information out to everyone.
Hey, look, I'm gonna tell you something. This show tonight is gonna be the longest running show that I've ever done, and I'm gonna tell you why. There's a lot of people that have a lot to say. No, and it's a good thing. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of observations that I'm seeing on here. Not to mention, I haven't even got to all my questions. But before I get into some more of your serious stuff here from my viewers, which I'm going to get to, how many of you people know that Mr. Logan is an avid runner? He is a walking calorie burner. I think he must be about 120 pounds, right? But he's a runner. So let me ask you a question. How often do you run? What's the furthest have you ran? And when do you run?
Well, I don't run a lot now because I don't like cold weather. And I was talking to Vanessa Briggs earlier today, and she said something about COVID-15. And and I started laughing. I was on a call with her, you and Ricky. And COVID-15 means that you've gained 15 pounds due to COVID. And she's right. I don't know if I've gained 15, but because we haven't been able to go out and run or play ball or anything, yeah, I put on a few pounds. I'm looking forward to getting out running. The furthest I've run, I did a marathon, probably 20 miles.
How many?
20. That was a long time ago, though.
I drive
So
20 miles and I get sleepy.
no, but well, you take it in small, kind of when you're training,
I
you're
got you. I got you.
training up to the 20. So it took me a little while to get there.
It's funny you mentioned Vincent Miles or Dr. Miles because he's on this evening, and I'm telling you, I'm there are two doctors in the same house. Now, come on. When I'm telling you, when I walk by their house, I be thinking I know stuff. Just starts popping in my head. I'm like, where'd that come from? But that's besides the point. Sheila, I want to recognize you, Sheila Cheney. Mary Kyle, she slept on this one. She didn't know we were on, but she's on now. It is good to see you. Dr. Miles, you already heard what I said about you. Now, Carmen Green, I don't know if we want to butter you up anymore. Yeah, we'll butter you up. We are blessed to have Mr. Logan as our manager. He is thinking outside the box and understanding all the many pieces or errors that have to be addressed to keep us going. Coatesville is rising. Kim Watson, good to see you. Donna, I'm going to ask you a question a little bit later. Lily Lavender, she said, hey, Fonz, Mr. Logan is a great guy. He actually took time out of his busy schedule to help me get my resume together. He really genuinely cares about people, and especially the people of our community. He loves our city. I'm grateful for his presence, great expectations, blessings. Jeffrey Washington, even though you're a Cowboy fan, I'm going to say good evening. Latoya Brickets, I want so much to interview Jameer Brickets on here with some other athletes. Latoya, if you can help me with that, I would be beholden to you. I'm so glad you're on. We need Jameer Brickets. I'm talking to the Youngs. And I'm talking to Deuce Turner, and we want to get AJ. So I'm trying to get his dad and them, all of us to do a Zoom. Anyway, let me keep moving on. Was there a question I missed? Yes.
I was real quick for Miss Lavender. Yeah. So I thought she was mad at me because I changed her resume so much. Ooh. And after I sent it to her, she did thank me, but I haven't heard from her since. So I'm glad I was able to help you, but I hope I wasn't too harsh with taking some of the information. But she has a great resume. And I was more than happy to help her.
So now, a lot of times when I talk to you, the conversation will turn to food, stuff like that. And I always laugh at you. I say, "What are you having for lunch? Sunflower seeds?" Because you're just like such a healthy guy. So my question to you is, and especially since you mentioned pizza, which I never thought you would eat, what's some of your favorite foods?
I have to say I am a semi-vegetarian. I eat fish and chicken. But some of my favorite foods, again, being raised in a big family, I still like my hot water cornbread, greens, red beans, and my favorite is chicken and dumplings. So those are the ones that still kind of the soul food that sticks to your ribs. And for those of you who go to California, go to Oakland. If you ever want to get good barbecue, and some of my closest and dearest friends know this, there's a place called Everett and Jones, some of the best barbecue around. That's one of the things that we got to get in Coatesville. We got to get a good barbecue. And Mr. Rollins, I know you're there. We got to get you in the store, man. We got to get some good barbecue.
Oh, man. In
Coatesville.
I got to drive to Philly to get barbecue, man.
I know.
Don't. All right, anyway. Okay, now the next question.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
That was just the food. I got to tell you about the desserts.
Oh, okay.
Sakatumi cake, 7-Up cake, sweet potato pie, with or without coconuts, German chocolate cake, lemon jello cake. Remember those? Man. And that's it.
What's Sakatumi cake? I've never heard of that.
Hey, if you don't know what Sakatumi cake is?
I'll Google it because we're going to move on. J.D. Angelo just checked in. Jay, it's good to see you. The part you missed, you can catch on the repos. All right, now look, you already told us about your love for money, okay? But other than your love for money, what brought you to Coatesville?
Again, I don't know. I mean, I don't have an answer of what brought me to Coatesville. I worked in Coatesville behind the scenes about 15 years ago. Well, actually more, about 15 years ago. I used to do a training program over at CareerLink when it was here in town. It was called Welfare to Work. I was working for the Chamber of Commerce of Chester County Chamber of Business and Industry. And one of the things that we had a program to work with, at the time, it's called TANF recipients. And Lila Singleton, she's on the line tonight. She probably remembers that.
Yeah.
And I would come out here and I would put on a workshop teaching women how to transition from, TANF assistants to work. And we would take them on tours to different companies throughout the county, and I would try to match them to employers. So that was kind of my first, taste of Coatesville, and I just been working behind the scenes ever since. Well, up to now, I should say.
All right. So, are there any similarities between Oakland and Coatesville?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Coatesville. I mean, Oakland is a little bit more advanced now because we have like tech companies in the Bay Area. But it's gone through its transformation, just like Coatesville's going through theirs. And one of the things that there's been a lot of talk about the new businesses that are coming into the community, and if it's going to move people out, displacement and gentrification. And I've seen it happen, where I'm from. And the thing about gentrification is it doesn't really move people out if you don't want it to. One of the things that you want to do with gentrification is if you see that there's an opportunity to build business, you want to make that business opportunities or those business opportunities available to the people that live here. So if someone's a renter and companies are coming here or coming in the surrounding area, and you want to get that person a better job so he or she can make more money, and then when they start making money, you want to put them into a home. Well, the gentrification really doesn't take place because they are staying in their community. So now what you're moving them from the rental properties into a home ownership, and they become the individuals that are gentrifying their own communities. So there's pros and cons to when I hear people use that term. If you think about it, we've all gentrified a community. I mean, Coatesville been gentrified from, over the years. It's constantly evolving. When Oakland kind of experienced its gentrification, it was predominantly done by the gay community. When the gay community came into certain areas of Oakland, they came in, they put up restaurants, they put up clothing stores, bakeries, and people were saying like, we don't want this. But, year after year, when things started to change in our community because of this population of people, everyone began to get on board with it. So it inspired people to want the change, to want to do better, and to clean up our neighborhoods and things like that. And I think, that's happening now. There's so many people wanting to volunteer to either clean up or to support groups. And that's real. You can't beat that.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, Deborah Eisenberg Ryan, it is good to see you. Gretchen Shelton, good to see you. Boy, y'all must have heard that the city managers are going to be on because there's some names on here that I've never seen on my show. It's good. Welcome. I want y'all to keep coming back. Tina Madsen, it is good to see you. I had wondered what happened to you because you are seriously one of my regulars. Let me see. All right, bam, bam. I want to make sure I knock these people off so I can keep on going. Look, we still got a lot. Don't go nowhere. We got an announcement at the end of the show. You still got questions. Are you on a time limit? Do you have somewhere to be, Mr. Logan?
No.
All right, good. All right, now, first of all, let me go back to Donna Rowland. She wants to know what's the difference between a city manager and a mayor. In case you start falling down on a job, we'll just put in to get a mayor to take your place. What's the difference?
Well, the difference between a city manager and a mayor, a city manager is more like a city CEO. And we are a third class city, meaning that I answer to 7 members of our council. We have 4 wards in this community, and we have city council members they represent those wards. And then we have 2 council members that represent what we call at large. So they are pretty much all over the wards. So they're in each of the wards, along with supporting those council members. So the city manager, my role is to manage the city and to work off whatever legislation that our city council and officials would want to implement. A mayor doesn't really answer to city council members, and he or she has a little bit more autonomy in the things that they do. They're supported by a large council base that concentrates on their areas or wards a little bit differently than our council members do. In
Okay,
addition
here's a
to
question.
that,
Oh, I'm
in,
sorry.
yeah, in addition to that, third class city, we have a little bit more flexibility on how we govern ourselves. Not that, we don't follow the Commonwealth, laws or anything, but we do have a little bit more flexibility, and we have a charter, and we have, of course, city ordinance as well.
Okay, now I've heard you say that there are two Coatesvilles that need to come together. What do you mean by that?
Well, we got Coatesville proper, as I call it. That's from bridge to bridge. That's the dense population of what's going on here, the heart and soul of Coatesville. And then we have, the Coatesville 19230, the surrounding area, the area that makes up our school district. And one of the things that we look at, or I look at, is how do I bring those two cities or communities together? It's the tale of two cities. So we have the ability to connect, both of these cities by way of, our diversity, our culture, the food that we have here, and as much as we say that we are, that we are connected, we're kind of disconnected. Because the outer portion of Coatesville rarely comes into Coatesville proper to do their shopping and things like that. And part of that's because we don't really have, the things that they want to come to buy. So not only are we not being able to tap into our full potential, but we somewhat lack what we're able to provide for the people that actually live here. I mean, we're a food desert. We don't have a grocery store in Coatesville. Why is that? We don't have a community center that is up and running, that used to be the beacon of Coatesville. Well, why is that? So, my job and the job of council members is to look inward and say, these are the things that we need to bring back to Coatesville or reestablish in Coatesville. And that's what we strategically try to do each year, how to make this happen.
That's good, 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 good. So now your approach to bring two of us together is going to be.
We just gotta to understand that we cannot exist without each other. We have to embrace, the folks that are middle class and upper class that may live outside of the area and inside this area, and then we have to embrace the the needs of each group. We have young people that they haven't been over the bridge yet, and there's some people that they haven't been on the West End in months, not so much due to COVID, but because they don't think that they need to be on the West End. And we're only in a community that's 1.9 square miles. So for someone to think that they can't move about a 2-mile radius, there's something wrong with that. And I want to change that.
All right. So what has been your go-to playbook to move the needle and to create the change that you think we need to have?
That's a good question. I say my go-to playbook is, just tapping into the creativity and the energy of other people. My mother used to say that, I'm a dreamer. I like to say I'm a forecaster.
Mhm.
I do see things differently. There's something that, someone told me a long time ago. They said, when you look at things, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will begin to change. And I believe that, and that's something that, my go-to is tapping into people that see things differently. And, people like you, people like there's some members of our council that they have vision, and that energy, that creativity sparks me. So as long as I surround myself with that, then I'm going to be good.
Okay, now let's talk about banking. Now you've talked about a bank in our community that would support minority-owned business. What would that vision be? How would we play that out? Can you foresee a Black bank or a bank that majors in our minority businesses?
I don't know if I can foresee a black bank, because black banks in our country have dwindled down to, I think there's less than 200, maybe less than that now. When I worked in New Jersey for the Department of Labor, there was a black-owned bank there, and we couldn't even get our people to put their money in the bank. So I don't know if a black-owned bank is the answer. I do believe that a bank that understands minority business, that's not going to gouge them on the interest rates when they ask for loans. When you look at the statistics, we are paying in upwards of 16 to 20% on loans, whereas our white counterparts are paying between 5 and 8% on business loans.
Yeah.
So it's things like that that need to change. And the way you change them is you identify a partner that wants to work in a community like Coatesville to provide things like microloans for small businesses. And microloans are, we have small businesses here that all they need is $5,000 to get off the ground. So if we can partner with a bank that does that, then that's going to help us. There's a rapper, guys may or may not know him, Killer Mike. Killer Mike recently launched a fintech bank. It's called Greenwood Financial, and he's partnered with Andrew Young and some other investors. And basically, it's a digital banking system. And these are the type of things that we need to get behind. Go online, check it out. Again, it's called Greenwood Financial. And what they're doing is they're changing the way that, financing, making loans for minority-owned businesses. They're taking the philosophy of Greenwood and they're making it work in Atlanta. And I think if we can get some partners and some people in this community to do that, then I think we'll go a long way. And again, it doesn't have to be the traditional banking system. I mean, Killer Mike and his partners, they're doing it, and I think we need to learn from that.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I remember when I opened up my athletic footwear store,
Mm-hmm.
I received a loan for I think $136,500, and it was from something called the Coastal Area Loan Pool, where there was like 8 or 9 banks that partnered together to do some things in Coastal. I don't know if that's still relevant, but that may be something to look into one day and see if that's a possibility.
Yeah, and there are organizations in the county. I mean, Chester County has, there's SBA programs. We have, Chester County Economic Development Council. They are full of resources there. I mean, we have commissioners that are very business minded, so they're open to these ideas, and it's just a matter of bringing people to the table to have these discussions. How would this work in a city like Coatesville? One of the things that I mentioned, I was on a different call earlier today for our small businesses. There's a number of people that I've been in conversation with, exploring a Reading terminal type of, business here.
Mhm.
Something taking a page from Reading Terminal, getting multiple businesses into one building, and having it right either on the east end or right in a downtown district. But we have the resources to do that here, and it's just a matter of getting the people together that are interested in doing it.
Okay, now we've had a challenging year.
Yeah.
This past year, what has impacted you the most?
Actually, when we had our march, the protests and the demonstrations, that affected me and impacted me the most. And certainly, when the death of George Floyd, I mean, it changed the nation, I think. But what it also did for me was it made me see the resilience of people and the resilience of this community. People came together, they were angry, but they didn't destroy things. And when you're trying to build a community, it doesn't make sense to destroy, what you're trying to build. So that really affected me, and that has impacted me. Watching people in this community, take something so tragic, and they're trying to build from it. You know, they're activists in our community that we're working with to come to the table to create change. And that's what we have to do. You know, we can no longer stand still on things that have been that we've been conditioned to accept or believe in. So I'm not trying to sound all radical or anything, but you know, as people in this community that want more, we have to be able to come to the table and speak to each other and agree to disagree without getting all bent out of shape. And I think that's going to be important moving forward.
Okay, we're coming almost to the end. Hang in there. If you're still on here, you might as well wait to the last thing for Mr. Logan's announcement. But while you're talking about George Floyd, let me ask you, are you concerned about the relationship between the police and residents?
Yeah, I am. You know, I'm concerned about it, but I also know that, you know, we have a police chief here that he works hard at what he does. He has you know, a force that gets out every day. You know, they are challenged with what goes on in this community and the surrounding communities, and they're doing the best that they can do. Um, but I am concerned, you know, because you know, everyone is not perfect. Everyone has their own views about minorities, in particular Black people. Um, you know, all we can do is we can try to, you know, get rid of the bad apples. You know, if we have some, we can, you know, start with educating people. We can start with what the chief has already implemented, and that's you know, community policing, or I like to call it, you know, community outreach. Getting to know our community better is something that he's done. And now that I'm in this position, we have conversations about, you know, how do we improve things. And he's open to these ideas. And one of the things that I would like to do is I like to get more people from the community to kind of sit in on roundtable discussions to tell our police department and the city, what is it can we do better? You know, because it's important. We are not, you know, no one wants to walk in their community in fear. You know, when we see a police officer, we should be able to talk to him or her as a neighbor, and understand that they're here to protect us, and not to beat us down. So yeah, I'm concerned about it, but I believe that, you know, we are making tremendous strides in making sure that what we do in the city of Coatesville is not necessarily a reflection of what's happening on the national stage.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I see Miss Hunt has came back. Lorraine Mary, you all late, but you know you can see me anytime because I'm gonna play this over and over and over again. Top of the evening to you. Now, look, Mr. Logan, I want you to tell the viewers a little something about the announcement that you have.
Oh, well, Fonz, you actually know about this announcement, and you didn't know it.
I wanted to come from you.
So, so one of the things that we've been doing, and Fonz knows this, and my council members know this, we've always talked about, you know, workforce development and you know, getting people jobs, and we have a unique opportunity with the governor, with our county commissioners, um, with the company out here, not too far from here, um, and um, and I'll share the company's name. It's Urban Outfitters. But we have an opportunity to work with them along with TMAC to explore how do we start recruiting individuals from the city of Coatesville. And it's in a very early stage. You know, the governor is working hard along with our commissioners. They're going to be making a big announcement. But I just want to kind of give you a little taste of it. It's not baked fully yet, but it's great to know that, you know, we have a local company that's willing to work with this city. We have a governor that's willing to partner. We have some individuals in the leadership role at PennDOT that's making this happen as well, and certainly our county commissioners are all on board with it, and our city officials are on board with it too. So, you know, I'll have more information for you soon, Fonz. I'm sure you'll be blasting it out there to help us spread the word.
I can't wait. I'm telling you, I'm so excited. Just the concept has got me thrilled, man. You know what I mean?
So again, just so everyone knows, as I said, it's not hashed out yet, but the discussions with the company are ongoing, and we hope that we'll have something in a couple of weeks. So we're very excited about it.
And it's going to be bigly.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, now it's time for us to come to a close, because I'm telling you, we can go on and on and on and on and on. So I want you to close us out with some words of either encouragement, whatever's on your heart that you would like to speak to the viewers now that you got their undivided attention. What would you like to say to them?
Well, I just want to first, thank everyone for all of your support. A lot of names, fonts that you were reading off tonight. I've heard of the individuals. I met some of the individuals. Since I've been here for the last almost close to 3 years now. Everyone has been very supportive. You have been very supportive. Guys like Ricky Campbell. Ricky Campbell and I walked up and down Lincoln Highway one day. Just Ricky's like the mayor, and just he was just introducing me to people. Guys like Nate Bookman Sr. He takes time out and he talks to me about Coatesville, where it was, where it's going, and what it can be, and I appreciate that. A lot of folks, they see me in this city manager role, and sometimes I'm not as, I don't know if I'm outspoken tonight, but I'm not as animated maybe sometimes because I'm in the work mode. But I guess I just want you guys to know that I'm a human being. I'm just like you. I have the same concerns. My job is to take whatever you share with me and try to improve it or implement policy or change. And we can do this together. There's so many different things and so many challenges and so many opportunities that we have in this community. And one of the things that I would like to do is move us away from this kind of crab in the barrel mentality, because we do have it in Coatesville, and this is just real talk. We have so many things that we can capitalize on, but sometimes we're spending too much time on social media, throwing shade on each other. And I just want us to look at it and say, look, and instead of us doing the negative, why don't we put some time into the positive and see what happens? And that's what 2021 is going to bring. I'm still going to be answering the calls for trash related issues and, ice on the ground and things like that, because that's my job. But I'm also going to be working to bring better housing here, workforce opportunities, innovation zones. We are going to have a new community center, and those are the things that that's going to keep Coatesville rising. Stealing the phrase from fonts.
That's all right. That's all right, man. Let's do this. Let's do this together. Hey, look, James, I want to thank you, man, once again for taking out time out of your busy day and night to hang out with us guys, man. Now people know more about you. They know you used to be a radical from Oakland. Is it Oakland?
Yeah.
Is it Oakland?
Yeah, I wasn't that bad of a radical, though. I got into trouble, but
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That.
But look, it is so good. It's so good to be able to sit here and just talk to you, one person to another person, to our viewers, man, so we can get answers to some things and to see you're more than just a title. You are a person with feelings and everything else. And maybe we can approach each other a little differently, knowing that we are dealing with people with feelings and concerns such as yours. Man, this has been a great show. I can't wait to see the aftermath of this. I've seen all the viewers. This show is all over the top. I'm going to share it across all my platforms. And I can't thank you enough for your heart, your spirit in regards to your leadership for the city, man. I mean, I like talking to you because you're always talking outside the box and you always got some kind of vision for something for me to do. You know what I mean? You're like, Fonz, I got this good idea. And I'm like, yeah, that's more stuff I'm going to have to do. No, I'm good.
Yeah. Now, I and like I told you, I do have a lot of ideas. But I want to say one thing before we sign off. Um, it's so interesting that, we're doing this show tonight. And this is something that I want to encourage, the viewers and the listeners to just consider. We have council members and we have council meetings, and you all know who our council members are. You voted for them, you put them in their positions. One of the things that would be really good next year or 2021 is if we saw more of our residents at city council meetings, whether it be a Zoom or when we get back into, coming to the public meetings. But the other thing too is I have 4 boards and committees that are not full yet. And they range from planning to parks to, I mean, you name it, they're on our website. And I would love to get more of our community residents involved in some of our boards and commissions. So if anyone out there, you have some free time or you just have some time that you want to volunteer, please look at our website, go to boards and commissions. If there's something there that interests you, give me a call. I'd be more than happy to kind of walk you through the steps to see if you meet the criteria to get on it. But these are things that, without you as the residents, the city is not going to be as great as it can be. So please consider that. And I just, want to thank you all for allowing me to share, some of my story. Fonz, I want to thank you for always being the consummate ambassador of Coatesville. And I'm going to definitely get you a couple of these turtlenecks, man.
My man, because I can't find them. I'm telling you. Hey, look, a couple announcements before I go. Pastor Kyle Boyer from Tabernacle Baptist Church, he just gave me the information that their food distribution is Friday from 11 to 1. That's 819 Coat Street, I believe. And if I'm off by a couple of addresses, keep walking till you see a church. Go in there and get that food and stop playing. That is Friday. Don't forget, Thursday is Giving Thanks Thursday on City Town Talk. There will be no guests. All of you will be my guests. And I'm going to need you to say something that you're thankful for or grateful for Thursday. Ain't nobody playing with y'all. Just because, look at him putting his mask on. Ain't that something? What are you practicing?
Nope.
Oh, wear a mask. Okay.
Yeah. Wear a mask.
Exactly. Okay, so that's Thursday. I want to see y'all. Man, once again, thank you very much. Y'all know how I sign off. Look, I want you to remember, if nobody told you that they love you today, man, Brother Fonz loves y'all. Coatesville's rising, and Black Lives Matter. Peace out.
Thank you.
Bam.